Hi there, I'm Matt Keene. Welcome to Creating a Future We Want, the Evaluative Evolution series. Stand back, just like I do when I am in the garden taking stock. I stand back and I am an objective observer. I am outside of the fray. I might even stand outside of the fencing that keeps the deer and the rabbits and the moles and none of those things out, but it's supposed to. I stand back and separate myself. I am rational. I am a reasoning machine. I am smart. I am getting more intelligent every day about the well-being of the garden, how to care for it, how to get more ochre out of these plants. I just pull the ochre right out of them. Just see an ochre and I start yanking and it gets longer the next day. It must be because I was pulling on it. Do not believe me. Do not trust me. My melons are dead. The melon vines are toast. While I was objectively observing the flourishing and thriving of life, the worms were inside of the vines, eating my melons from the inside out. One day, I'm very self-satisfied over here, thinking, oh boy, do I love ice cream and fresh melon. I can't wait until those are ripe. The next day, I'm basically watering my melons with tears. That was good. I just thought of that. Seriously, people pay for this stuff. Not many people, clearly. In fact, very few. But my harsh inspiration for the week. Now, what was the inspiration? Well, it had to do with something like I've leaned down melon vines, you know, like trying to get my tears back. I'm not going to waste any tears on a worm. And my glasses fall off my face. I'm looking at my glasses. I'm holding my hand, not the ice cream cone, but my glasses. And I'm thinking, man, it is so easy to stand back and make judgments all day long. Assess. Judge, right and wrong, good and bad. Here's how to make it better. Oh, you do that? You should do it like this because it would be better. Oh, you do that? No wonder things didn't work out. Good grief. It's so easy to do that, to perceive it all. It's so easy to also forget that which we are perceiving all of this through. The lens through which we see all of it. And this lens, right? This lens is what has everything, right? You could think about the garden is already in my lens in a way. There's like millennia of gardens in the lens through which I am seeing this garden. And then there's many days and many weeks and many months of this garden in this lens. And I am seeing it through this lens that has been constructed by the garden and that I am constructing. And I'm just making judgments, looking out there and not questioning the lenses that I have constructed through which I am seeing the garden and making all of these judgments. Is what's built into this lens the right stuff to be making the judgments about, well, health and well-being or whatever it is that I'm judging about? Well, I wasn't asking any of those questions. I'm not even sure that I could. I'm not sure that if I knew that I should be, what I would be doing about it. Maybe I'm doing something about it right now. Will this be effective? I don't know. But sounds like I'm going down slippery slope, rabbit hole, black hole, wormhole. Worms, probably that. So some of the other components of this sort of the way that I'm thinking about this are these reflections on the way that I've learned to think about some things in the past. Evidently, like maybe, you know, a cousin 85 times removed is John Locke. Well, this dude, he, sure very lovely guy. I don't know. Not too many stories around the family family campfire. Yeah, we all live in capes. Family campfire about old John. But he sort of believed in tabula rasa, the whole idea of like a blank slate. Sort of like you're born with, you're starting from scratch. And everything you end up knowing, everything you end up having in your lens is through the experience of your life and what you learn while you're alive. Well, he wasn't quite right about that, but he's in good company. A whole bunch of other folks were not too right about that. Another person who talked about the blank slate that was influential to me was a fellow named E.F. Schumacher, heterodox economist, philosopher, and he did not subscribe to the blank slate. Fritjof Capra is another person who has been pretty influential in my thinking about this particular thing, just comes to mind. And he said something in one of his books, maybe Small is Beautiful, like you have to have ideas in order to think about ideas. That was like an idea that I did not already have. The idea that, like, when new stuff's coming your way, if you don't have any old stuff in there, you don't have anything to think about the new stuff with. And I found that to be very powerful, and it was a great incentive to add a whole bunch of new stuff so that I could think about all sorts of other new stuff with lots of old stuff that was already inside of me. David Eagleman, a neuroscientist, talks about these sorts of things in probably all of his books, but one of them that I remember is Incognito. You can learn a lot about that. Schumacher also talked about the invisibles. Now I found this to be related. The invisibles being like in modernity, in the way we think about science today, it's often like if you can't prove it through science or some scientific method, then it must not exist, or at least we should not deal with it because it's too soft and squishy and over there, and we'll just leave it to the side. So Schumacher talks about this perspective that dominates our views on science today, and he talks about the invisibles, things like life and consciousness and self-awareness and hatred and love and beauty and joy, integrity, honor, trust, belief, and points out, well, these are sort of like some of the most important stuff, and really proving them or generating the kind of scientific proof about them is not something that we're very good at. People, maybe we are terrible at it, maybe nobody even thinks it should be done. I think about all of those things as values, human values, most of those. Some of those nature's values or values of life as well. And it's so true. Some of the most powerful forces on earth, we have no way of assessing or understanding them in systematic or systemic ways in their relationship to the well-being and flourishing of life, humanity, reality. So the invisibles, and so I sort of had this idea like, oh, the blank slate, right? Well, it's understandable. We can save face. It's understandable that we saw the slate as blank in a sense, because all of this stuff values the invisibles. Well, their invisibilia is invisible, and that slate is actually covered with all sorts of things. But since scientific revolution, we wouldn't say that we would list those things on the slate because we don't have scientific proof that they exist. So everybody's out, saved. Everybody's safe. It's all good. It's all understandable how we came up with this blank slate thing. Makes a ton of sense. So evolution, last point here, evolution prior to 1500 or so, prior to Descartes, yeah, poor guy, gets so many people like heaping blame on him. Newton too, who I honestly don't really think he deserves it. That guy, he was amazing. Evolution gave us ways to perceive the invisibles, these things: life, consciousness, self-awareness, love, joy, hatred, integrity, trust, loyalty. We have these capabilities naturally. In a way, we're not good at proving these values, the invisibles, exist. Although, and here's the thing, although evolution gave us these capabilities, or we have the ability to perceive these things in other people and in nature, in the world, I'm not sure that's going to be good enough to create a future we want in the now. I am wondering, right, if we're going to need to augment our abilities to assess and understand the invisibles with technology, with AI. Is that going to be a part of how we deal with the world we have built, and the future we want? I wonder if like cyborg anthropology might have something to instruct us in how we think about the directions that we head in exploring these options for deeper understanding of values and how to integrate it in with the world we built and the future we want. That's it. I'm Matt Keene. Thanks for visiting Creating the Future We Want, the Evaluative Evolution series. Back to my beautiful gin and tonic and the garden and my family. I love you all. See you soon.